That murder trial, as I indicated, has been underway with a number of twists and turns. One of the organizations, or in fact the organization that has been assisting the Meyiwa family in initiating a private prosecution, is AfriForum's Private Prosecution Unit. I'm going to speak now to spokesperson of that unit, Barry Bateman, and he joins me live now on the SABC News channel. Barry, thank you very much indeed for always making time for us. We do appreciate it. 10 years on, there is still no justice for Senzo Meyiwa. In the clip that just played a few moments ago, in which the family member says they're hoping that these proceedings, which are currently underway, will lead to the mastermind of who was behind the death of, or the killing of Senzo Meyiwa. That is a view that AfriForum has held for the longest time, that this mastermind also needs to come before court, isn't it?
You're quite right, Griselda. It's a position we've held since taking on this matter, being briefed by Senzo Meyiwa's family in 2019, the arrest subsequently the following year. And our position is informed by the close cooperation that our unit had with the SAPS after our appointment. We brought in the expertise of our unit and we got cooperation from the SAPS. So our office is very familiar with the evidence that was gathered and that is slowly being presented in this trial. And the evidence points directly to the involvement of a mastermind. There were suggestions early on that this was a robbery that had gone wrong, that it was any other thing. We've always said that this is not the case. This is an assassination. The people that are before court are the alleged foot soldiers, and that there is somebody who commissioned them to commit this crime. Now, whether or not it will eventually result in the prosecution of that individual, it's difficult to say.
Yeah.
Advocate Gerry Nel has held the position that each prosecutor's got his own technique or his own prosecutorial strategy that they would be following. Advocate Nel, in his view, he would have had that mastermind together in the dock with these individuals. But we trust Advocate George Beloy in his strategy and ultimately hope that the mastermind will be brought before court and prosecuted.
Perhaps then I should ask Barry that we both know that there are two dockets that were registered in this particular case. The one that is currently before court and the other, which is yet to be decided on in terms of prosecution. Once this current trial has been concluded, basically based on the strength of this current trial which is sitting, do you believe then perhaps that the mastermind, or do you believe that the mastermind would come from this particular docket that is currently before us, or of course the second docket, which seems to name other individuals for alleged involvement? What we heard from Brigadier Bongani Kininda, who is the lead investigator in this matter, he actually told the court a couple of days ago that he understands this to be a defeating the ends of docket and not murder.
As far as we're concerned, there is only one docket, and that is the docket that is being used to present the current case before the court.
Yeah.
You touched on the issue of defeating the ends of justice. Well, the existence of that so-called second docket is in itself an issue of contention and controversy, and potentially the subject of political involvement and all sorts of promises that were made. And I'll just reiterate, our position is that there is only one docket, and that's the docket that is before this court. And we're of the opinion that the evidence contained in this docket is sufficient to implicate a mastermind in the crime.
10 years on, have you able to speak to the family? I know that they are commemorating the legacy of the late Senzo Meyiwa at the launch of a branch of the football team that he played for Orlando Pirates. Have you spoken to them about their feelings? We've conducted quite a number of interviews with those that were close to him, including his former soccer boss, the family as well. But today is absolutely a somber day. And I guess on this day, many still continue to call for justice.
We regularly speak to Senzo Meyiwa's family, and in the run-up to this significant and awful day that the family has to go through, there were, of course, many requests that people could speak to the family. And one of the things that, a word that was used quite often is exhausted. This has been a long time. It's been 10 years. We had our involvement in 2019. The family is yearning for justice. I heard your interviews there, Griselda, where you spoke to a family about the passing of Senzo's father. This is somebody who did not see justice for the murder of his son. And the family is yearning to reach some form of finality, have some form of solid or concrete answers. The court can only take you so far, but it will take them a lot further than where they are today. So the family is tired. The family is anxious for justice, and we will remain by their side. As I said, we're in fairly regular contact, and there's a lot happening in the courtroom whenever the matter sits, and we try to keep them appraised of significant developments. But I'll come back to that word, and I can only repeat it. I'm sure you picked it up, Griselda, from your interview on the family. Exhaustion. Let's get to the end.
As AfriForum's a private prosecution unit, are you satisfied with the proceedings thus far? We are on the last witness, as per what we've heard from the state.
We're confident in Advocate George Beloy and the manner in which he's handling the case and presenting the evidence. So we're just hopeful that we get to a point where the state can close its case and we can then embark on the next leg of a trial that might, and we're quite confident that the defense would certainly bring a Section 174 discharge, but we'll wait for that to happen. And then we can see what the defense is going to put up, and then we can really start getting an idea. Because, of course, you followed many trials. There are always two sides to the story, and while the state's case might seem strong on the one side until you start hearing the defense, it might change the picture. But and I'll just say it again, we've got confidence in Advocate George Beloy. The investigation and the docket that was compiled and presented for prosecution is strong against the accused. And again, without going into all the details of what has been led so far, suffice to say that we are satisfied, and we just hope that the state can get to a point where they can close the case and we can move on to the next leg.
Yeah. Barry Bateman, thank you very much indeed. We do appreciate your time here on SABC News, AfriForum's private prosecution unit. Of course, having been at the side of the Meyiwa family, in that sometimes the family would not be able to make it to proceedings here at the High Court in Pretoria, and they would then get a brief from AfriForum's private prosecution unit about what has transpired inside court. One of the issues, of course, that had also been raised about the constant delays, you would know that the matter had been sitting in the High Court in Pretoria, but for a couple of days now, it had not been sitting due to the ill health of one of the defense lawyers, Thulani Mngomezulu, and certainly that also leading to more frustrations, and indeed the Meyiwa family saying they want this trial now to come to an end.